to Cocktail History, where we explore the association of history and cocktails with a Freeborn County flair. I'm Stephanie Kibler, director of the Freeborn County Historical Museum, Library and Village, with Risha Lilienthal, coordinator of our exhibits and collections. Today, our feature beverage is the Aviation. I'm kind of excited about this one. It's got unique liqueurs to it that I have never had before.
Me neither.
I'm gonna guess most people haven't.
Right, and they smell fantastic.
They do. So the Aviation was created by Hugo Enslin, Enslin. I'm not sure if that's quite the right pronunciation. Head bartender of the Hotel Wallach in New York in the early 20th century. First published recipe for the drink appeared in his 1916 recipes for mixed drinks. The unique thing about this one is it calls for the Creme de Violette.
Right. But that's really hard to find.
Really hard to find. In the 1960s, it like vanished, went away. Came back in 07, and Minneapolis importer Haus Alpens began importing it from Austria right at the height of the craft cocktail. So I kind of remember when I lived in the cities then, and I kind of remember when the bars up there and the restaurants up there, all of a sudden you started to see these really fun old school cocktails coming back. I haven't seen this one anyplace, but the Sazerac comes to mind, which is one that's a early 1900s beverage, and all of a sudden everybody was making Sazeracs. So
when was that?
like 07.
Okay, so
Like
I
in
wasn't
2007.
drinking.
No, you were probably a
I was
little
like,
young.
Like, why?
Yeah.
When haven't we been?
You were probably a little bit young. We could not find Creme de Violette. So
Right.
we're using Creme Yvette, which is a violet liqueur that is made with additional spices. Has violet petals, blackberries, raspberries, strawberries, orange peel, honey, and vanilla.
That sounds like divine.
It's got like everything.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering if with all of that at some point, if this wasn't a medicinal. Nothing I found said that, but with the orange and the honey, and then with some of the spices, I don't know, it just seems like it could be a nice little, it would go great in our ladies' Victorian parlor.
Ooh, yes.
Yeah, so that's something we are working on. Hopefully opening the summer of 2021, so in a matter of months, but that might be that sounds
fun.
The Creme Yvette is also a historic liqueur that was revived after 40 years in 2009. So, two really fun liqueurs we're using. We're also using the Hearing 200 cherry liqueur from 1818 to 2018. So,
And that's a really big Denmark-made one.
right.
Yeah.
And this label is fantastic. Since 1818 has been a fashion accessory, adding extravagance and civilization to the mix of some of the most legendary cocktails of all time. I like that was on the
fun.
bottle. That was a fun way to.
Well, and I liked it too because we have so many people from Denmark that came to Freeborn County
Yes.
that it's like, aw, Denmark.
So we are tying it. So now we've talked Victorian home. We've got settling in Freeborn County, which is finished and ready. We opened
Yes,
this
we're
week.
open.
So
Yeah.
that's fantastic. So the settling in Freeborn County is a brand new exhibit on immigration that we just completed right before we opened this week. Yeah, so that's awesome too. So we've tied in a whole bunch of things here. So for the Aviation, we're gonna do a double batch again. So it is 2 ounces of gin. So it would be 4 ounces of gin.
Oh my gosh, is that 4 shots?
That is 4 shots.
That's a lot. Oh gosh, I have to hold this correctly.
Yes.
It's been a while.
It's been a while. And we are using the Bombay Sapphire Gin again. That's one we've used for quite a few of these, and it seems to be kind of a It's not quite so juniper-y. You know, we talked about that a little bit with Jenna Thompson last week. Jenna Thompson with Daisy Blue was a guest here last week. And,
we did the Pink Lady.
We did, and so we talked a little bit about the juniper smell and taste. Then we do a ½ ounce of the cherry liqueur, so a full ounce of that. And the recipe actually calls for maraschino liqueur, but we did not find that locally, so we went with the cherry liqueur, which should be very comparable to that.
And it's still red. Whoa.
Yeah, look at that. A $1/4 ounce of the Creme de Violette, so we're gonna do ½ ounce of that one. Yep, I think that one pops. Yeah.
That one wasn't as satisfying. Just half?
Just half, yeah, it's just a $1/4 ounce of the Creme de Violette. Makes a funny blurb, doesn't it?
That's like those fish pictures.
Yeah.
That make the bloop, 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 bloop.
And then 3¼ ounce, no, I'm sorry, 3/4 ounce of lemon juice. Whoops. 3/4 ounce of lemon juice, so 1.5 ounces of the lemon juice.
Could I probably just pour this?
Well, I don't know. You don't want it to get too sour. I think there's a little over 1.5 ounces in that bowl.
It's precision work here.
We should have put our ice in first.
Oh no!
Whoops. There's our blooper for the day.
No.
Just gently add the ice if you make the same mistake we just made.
Gently.
Oh, there, see? That's gonna be a big shake. It's interesting because in doing this, we started looking at the aviation history of Albert Lee, which has been really fun. In May of 1940, the first chartered air flight from a point outside of the state, I believe, arrived here in Albert Lee. John McCutcheon of Albert Lee, who was affiliated with American Gas Company, arrived in a Piper Cub from a flight that originated in Wisconsin Rapids. Yeah. And I thought this was really kind of a fun little Albert Lee Tribune thing. These flights bear out the contention of local aviation enthusiasts that as the availability of the local airport becomes known, further use of this speedy mode of travel will be made to and from Albert Lee.
Aww. And I think it was the man's wife then took the plane right after him.
So
he
yeah.
came in.
Yep, Mrs. McCutcheon then hopped on the plane and went back to Wisconsin Rapids, so it was a quick round trip. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
So then we shake that up good. I do a little shake it a little more so it gets a little chilly. I'm gonna apologize. We do tend to bring in a lot of things on our from our home for this, and I neglected to bring glassware today. So we are using wine glasses. This normally would go into a martini glass. Yeah.
Is it good?
I think so. And then you're supposed to strain it into the cocktail glass. Ooh, that's gonna be a little tricky with a. She's making me a little nervous, you guys. And then you're supposed to garnish this with a brandied cherry. One thing that Jenna did give us a really good hint on was Woodford Reserve bourbon cherries. So we did not find the brandied cherry, so we're going with a bourbon cherry. Let's see if there's stems up. Oh yeah, there's a couple stems up there. That's pretty close. So just grab a stem and plop one in each.
Which hands have been washed.
Yeah. Oh, look at that cherry stem. I love it. Perfect. And that is the aviation. All right, so let's give it a little taste test here. Cheers. Ooh, that smells. Wow, that's tangy. I was not expecting tangy.
The lemon is in there a lot too.
In some of the comments, it said to cut the lemon in half. I didn't want to do that because I wanted us to stick as close as we could to the historic recipe.
But I think cutting the lemon in half would be, it's almost got like a pomegranate kind of taste to it.
It really does.
Yeah.
That'd be a nice summertime drink. While they're out crop dusting. That's we live on a we back up to a cornfield. I love being on our patio watching the crop dusters come.
Planes. Oh. I've
fact,
always wanted to learn how to fly.
Oh, they do lessons right down the road. So, the Albert Lee Civilian Air Corps is responsible for the establishment of the initial airport here. And they did not only establish it, but they also did the maintenance of the airport.
Oh.
And I'm not sure if that group is still active or not.
If they are, let us know.
Yes, that'd be great.
Are they the ones who also brought people to learn here?
So I believe so.
1940.
Well, so in 1942, Uncle Sam established a ground and air school here in Albert Lake.
That's what I'm thinking of.
Yeah,
yes.
which it was interesting. They did their flying instruction on the airfield.
Right.
And then
the ground instruction
at the Hotel Albert.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, we're working on an exhibit for.
It's like, oh my gosh, all the connections everywhere.
I hadn't expected so many. So that's really fun. So our Hotel Albert is going to be part of our Hotels of Freeborn County exhibit, which is currently underway. And that, I'm guessing, will be spring of 2021. So sometime in the next couple months, that one will open up. But yeah, so I brought in 40 students and 5 instructors and 11 planes. And they opened up like almost immediately once the city council, I believe, approved for this flight school. Yeah.
Well, I was thinking about how I wish I had a bomber jacket to wear.
Well, see, I wanted the hat with the ear flaps.
Yeah, and we do have a bomber jacket from a pilot who was in the Korean War. We do have his, but his isn't on display. We have a lot of other items from him on display. His name was Larry Joe Squires from the area, from the Korean War. We have his trunk downstairs in our exhibit. Which he died very young, very tragically,
story,
with 3 young children, very young.
He returned from war, and then within a year, I believe, died from a car accident.
Yeah.
And that collection's actually new to us, just in the last year that has come in. His widow donated the items to Steele County Historical Museum, who then called and said, "Hey, Freeborn County." And we said, yes, we would love that. Yeah. And it had not been opened, it looked like.
At least 50 years.
It had his socks, it had his toiletry kit. Yeah, that was a really fun find.
Really neat. Yeah.
Another tie to the military exhibit is Sherm Bowen.
Right, who was also in the Korean
World War II.
Oh no, okay, I'm thinking of somebody else.
He was World War II. And I had not heard of Sherm, a little before my time, but one of our members came in and was telling a little story about Sherm, and we're like, well, wait, we're doing the aviation, let's do a little research. And he was a well-known Minnesota aviation leader.
He went to Albert Lee High School.
He did, born in Glenville, moved to Albert Lee at the age of 13, graduated from Albert Lee High School, I believe. Learned to fly in 1938, and was in the first class of students at the Albert Lee Airport. So I thought that's a very interesting man as we kind of delved into him.
Because we have the printed oral report that he had with what was it? It's the Air Museum of Minnesota oral history project that they did, and he did an interview with them. And there was one point where he was talking about how these guys were going to go to this ball, this big dance that they were doing, and how they didn't really have very much money. So they were like, you guys have your ball. Go have fun. We're going to take our $4 that we have and we're going to go take a nighttime flight.
Oh,
so
nice.
They went, him and a couple of his buddies went
took
on
a little
nighttime
evening flight.
Yeah.
Sherm eventually held ground school class at Cape Radio Studios.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so that's kind of that's a whole other tie-in again. Sherm is just tie. This whole aviation theme is tied into everything. We are working on a timeline for Freeborn County that will feature Cape Radio as part of that segment. So yeah, he was also one of the first staff announcers and became program director at Cape.
Oh,
Yeah.
nice. Well, I know before he started flying, he was working on like radios and stuff too.
Oh, I didn't see. Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very interesting man. In the 50s, he moved to WCCO TV. And in 1953, he was the host of the nation's only regularly scheduled aviation program, The World of Aviation.
I love that. That's
I do
so
too.
neat.
I do too.
When I was reading the like script from his interview that he did, I wish I could have heard his inflection.
Mm-hmm.
Like sometimes he would, I don't know if he was like sassy or if he was just fun or I don't know, but there were times when he would just say the interviewer's name after he would say something. So he would say like, this happened in 1932, and then the interviewer would say something and then say, okay, what year was that? And then he would say, 1932, George. Like, I don't know if that was sassy or not.
Maybe a little sass to it. I think as an interviewer, it would be hard to interview somebody who's a TV personality.
Sure.
Because, they're just maybe going to be more, yeah, I don't know. Very interesting gentleman.
Mm-hmm.
And he was really fun to get to kind of know through almost back door because we weren't expecting to talk about Sherman all today.
Yeah.
One of my favorite things in the afternoons here is that we get to hear the planes from the airport.
Just today we were even hearing it.
Yeah. So we are fairly close to the airport and we have daily flights that fly over. Yeah. Anyway, I don't know. Do you have anything else to add to aviation?
No, I wish these were more purple, but I think that's the Creme de Violette that needs to be.
Probably. Yeah, there was one, I want to say it was called like Purple Rain that they suggested.
Like
yes. That was that Purple Rain Prince purple.
Ooh.
But that also is one I could not find anywhere. So this was the only one that could be found, the Creme Yvette, which is more of this color than it is purple. Yeah. But anyway, thanks for joining us for today. I would recommend sipping on one of these. It was a fun thing to try, and I think, I would definitely cut back on the lemon juice.
Yeah, just a little bit at least.
Yeah. Well, cheers, everyone. Cheers, Risha.
Cheers.
We'll see you next week.